All right, partner, we got another episode in the box talking about, some folks from VMI.
Yes.
Going on our college podcast now.
Yeah,
We're gonna start
Virginia
doing
Military
it.
Institute has been a great partner with Chesterfield County Police
Yes.
Department. They've had some really good applicants, and they also opened the door for us to recruit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we thought it's a great university. We've had a number of officers, and currently have a number of officers working here who are graduates of VMI. So we thought today, let's just highlight
Hold on, let's
what they're
talk
doing.
about some of the things that I used to do down at VMI. I used to run track down at VMI.
You did?
They had that hardboard track that you're running around and indoor track. That's why I love VMI. That's a good school, great school.
It is a
But
great
we got
school.
some great folks want
Yeah.
to talk to today.
So we have two. We have one of our patrol officers, Zach Goodrow, and we have Sergeant Gary Bailey, and I will let them introduce themselves. Zach, you want to go first?
Sure. Zach Goodrow, I graduated in May of 2015. Started with the department here in January of 16. I'm originally from Atlanta, moved up here for VMI, and while I was there, applied here, and I've been in the Richmond area ever since.
Oh, good. Good. That's a major move to come from Georgia to...
Yeah, I was going to say, you came from Atlanta and to VMI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what legacy at VMI?
No, it's kind of situation where someone else in like my neighborhood was a legacy, and he was a year older than I was. Never really heard of VMI ever. So once he went, I looked it up and just kind of knew that was where I wanted to go to school.
Man, good for you.
Good.
Good
Good.
for
That was
you.
a good move. And Sergeant Bailey, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Gary Bailey. I graduated VMI back in 1995. I'm originally from Chesterfield, Virginia. I went to Midlothian High School. I actually started with Chesterfield Police as an auxiliary officer back in 2000, and then 2003 started the basic academy in July. I've been with the department now as a paid officer for 18 years, and I've progressed to the rank of sergeant, where I work for criminal investigations right now.
So you started in the private sector.
Yes.
You became a volunteer police officer, which we referred to as the auxiliary police at the time, now special police because the code changes in Virginia.
It was special police back then. Now it's auxiliary police.
Okay. And then you transitioned to career
Yes.
police officer. Okay, so that's been an interesting career. You were a business and economics major at VMI.
Yes.
So a lot of our listeners, most students think, oh, I got to have a criminal justice degree. You were not a criminal justice major, and Zach, you were a history major, if I'm correct.
Yes.
You were. So how do you go from those majors to criminal justice?
Yeah, I got to hear this one.
Go ahead, Zach.
I think, law enforcement was kind of something I'd always thought about doing growing up. And when decided I was going to go to college, wanted a degree, knowing I wanted the degree just to open up all the opportunities having a degree has.
Exactly.
I necessarily didn't intend to go into history as a profession, but history is something I've always been interested in. So it was kind of a natural path of study once I got to school. And then, making the jump from having, a history degree into criminal justice, I think was fairly easy.
Okay.
A lot of things that, do as a police officer is kind of relevant as, you're studying something that's so writing heavy. Here we write. You have to do a lot of writing, whether you're writing, a report or things like that, kind of get used to being able to have a very coherent, very
Exactly.
easy to understand writing, a style that you practice in college that you can kind of transfer over.
And that's going to be big when you go to investigation if you choose to do that route.
Sure.
Writing reports and all and follow-ups. But let me ask you, why Chesterfield? What made you choose?
So like I said, I wasn't from Virginia. I really didn't know anything in Virginia other than VMI and Lexington for the most part. When I was kind of in my beginning of my last semester there, I knew I wasn't going to commission into the military. Okay. So I was looking for a job in the private sector out kind of in civilian world. A guy who I was good friends with, he was a senior when I was a freshman, so a few years older than me. He had become and still is a state trooper. So I said, hey, I'm interested in doing law enforcement. Kind of what do you recommend here in Virginia? Because I kind of had a good idea that I wanted to stay here in in the Virginia area and predominantly Richmond. So he said, if you don't want to be a state trooper, the only other place I would work is Chesterfield. So look them up. Didn't really know anything about it at the time. Looked into it and applied. And like I said, I've been here for 6 years almost, and no real intention to go anywhere else. So
good.
Now we'll get into. I wanted to get into your families, both of you all, of how they feel about Chesterfield, how they feel about you. You grew up in Chesterfield, so of course, Bailey, you were my sergeant when I was up in investigations a few years ago. Why did you choose Chesterfield? Give me a reason. I know you lived here, you heard about the department, but why Chesterfield?
Because I grew up here,
Okay.
and just when I decided that I was interested in being a police officer, I was in the private sector. I had a couple of friends that were officers, and that's why I actually decided to do the special police back then. I did a couple of police ride-alongs, and I thought, that it was interesting, and I thought this, at first, it was a way to give back to the community, and by doing it as a volunteer, it actually, I liked it, and I thought, I really want to do it as a career.
Okay.
That's what helped me make the decision to switch.
Okay.
When I was in high school, I thought about being a police officer after college, but it was just kind of a thought, and that's why I went with business and economics. But doing the specials, I enjoyed it, and then switched over, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought about Chesterfield because it was a community I lived in, and wanted to serve the community that I lived in.
Now, VMI is a military school, state school here in Virginia. How did that prepare you for policing? Or did it prepare you for policing? I know it's military. I know we are paramilitary. But do you feel like the preparation you got there has helped you in your career here? And this would be where you talk back.
right.
or even when you're going through your freshman and your years at VMI and what you see in academy here, do you see a parallel of same type of disciplines that you need to complete or get through that part that you got out of VMI? We want to give something back to the students when we send this to them and let them see that what you're doing now does prepare you for any police department of what you got to go through.
I think the stress that is put on you, you learn how to deal with it.
Yeah.
As you're going through your rat year at VMI, you're put underneath a lot of stress, and a lot of calls for service, that both of y'all know that you're put on. You have to manage your stress.
When you say stress, go deeper. At VMI, what do you mean stress? What do you mean? I don't need your.
Because not all the listeners may not know what a rat line is.
Okay, so when you're going through VMI, the rat line is your freshman year, and you have to do certain things. Upperclassmen have more privileges than you do. Mm-hmm. You have to walk a certain way through barracks. You can get dropped for push-ups by upperclassmen. You have to learn a lot of different things early on. You have to learn who the honor court is. You have to learn who the general committee is. And a lot of that is very similar coming through the academy. And it's different things that you have to learn, which puts you under stress, kind of like going through the academy, like the law enforcement code of ethics.
Yep.
So when you get out on the road, also there's stress on calls. So during your rat year, you're put underneath a lot of stress learning these things, and upperclassmen that yell at you when you don't know the things, and it puts you under stress. So when you go through your academy and you don't learn something that you're supposed to, and your training staff starts yelling at you, it puts you under stress.
Yes.
So that when you go on a call and it's a high-stress call, you know how to manage your stress so that you can work through it.
Yes. Zach, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think for me, when I was really only kind of out of VMI for 6-7 months before I started here, is that a lot of the starting the academy felt almost a little familiar, just because it was a similar type of like the discipline system, the expectations under kind of a relatively high level of stress in the academy, which you kind of get used to that at VMI. But having a relatively short period of time between the two, I thought was a benefit to me.
Right.
While some of my other people in the academy with me who definitely weren't from either a military background or the VMI background were much more shocked at some of that style of training than I was, just because I did it fairly recently. So I thought that was a benefit for me personally.
Good.
So our stress is a controlled stress.
Right.
Because if you can't deal with stress in a controlled environment, you won't function well when it's
Exactly.
uncontrolled, like on
Right.
calls of service or things like that. And I think that is why our academy is stressful. I mean, we need to know that when stress is uncontrolled, that our employees will perform as expected and follow our policies and our laws and things like that.
Right. I think like Sergeant Bailey was saying, with some of the stress, particularly during the rat line, where you have to memorize all this certain information, and then anybody can kind of ask you at any point in time to recite that. And if you don't, there's going to be some type of push-ups or whatever the punishment's going to be. Well, it's kind of similarly, once you get to the academy, you have to memorize these different laws and what the laws mean and what and how you're going to handle different scenarios based around knowing these laws. And if you mess that up, well, you may have to do some type of push-ups or some type of there's going to be some kind of repercussions for not knowing that. So that kind of that type of stress of having to do a very specific task under kind of at any moment with any type of kind of anybody can stop and make you do it type of deal.
Right.
I think was very kind of carried over between the two.
Right.
The two.
And when you think about it, the traditional colleges that we talk to students from, they have no clue how basic academy is going to be run for a police department. I mean, all police departments pretty much are going to be similar to what a VMI or any other type of paramilitary school. And I'm listening to you all. You were pretty much mentally prepared for, especially getting out that shorter period of time and getting back in it, that you're ready for whatever the academy staff is going to throw at you. But I want to go into where do you want to go in law enforcement? I know you are a sergeant in investigations. You were a patrol officer first. Any other organization or any other unit that you worked in before? I mean, you were a sergeant on the road, if I take it right, Bailey?
Yes. I worked patrol for several years. Then I was on our crash investigation unit for a couple years. Then I was a patrol sergeant. Then I was in Office of Professional Standards for a couple years, and then criminal investigations.
Okay.
And he left out the most important part.
What's that?
He's also been our primary recruiter at VMI. When they host
I've done
events
that.
there, where some of the VMI alum host some of their own
awesome.
recruiting events.
Good. What do you want to do, Zach?
I'm relatively speaking, I'm fairly early in my career still.
Sure.
About 5 years out of the academy now. I've been on patrol the whole time. I'd like to try to do something a little bit different.
Okay.
Kind of the benefit of this job in this department is you can do a lot of different types of work all under the same umbrella of the police department. So I'd like to, maybe try get up to investigations maybe, or I don't know, just trying to try something else for, a few years.
Okay, cool.
I know one of the things we've seen over the course of the last year is media talking about negativity about the police. How do you feel, have you been received well in our community? I mean, we've had a lot of outpouring of support, people thanking us, and, I don't know when the last time I went through a drive-through at Chick-fil-A and somebody in front of me didn't pay the bill. I mean, what has been your experiences with that and the support we get?
I mean, in Chesterfield, the support has just been fabulous. I haven't felt any negative response from anybody in Chesterfield County.
Right.
So
that's a blessing. That's good.
it has. It's been a blessing for us.
Yeah,
It is a blessing.
I would agree. And just kind of being out in, as a patrol officer, you're out in the kind of the world all the time.
Right.
We get people all the time stopping, waving, saying thank you out their windows to us. Kind of all over the place.
Right.
Where we go, kind of.
Yeah, you
seems
go
like.
into the station, there's pictures being drawn by daycares and after school programs. And I was working somewhere the other night, and the cutest little girl came up. She was so excited to see us. because she says the only thing she's going to be is a police officer.
Yeah, yeah.
She had a unicorn shirt on. She had a unicorn shoes, little pocketbook, but she was just so excited. And that's a blessing. That's one of the benefits, I think, of working in that county.
Then we talk about that partnership with our community. We do a lot of special programs for the community with law enforcement and all. But let me ask you about your families. Not only how do you get rid of stress in your personal life, but what are your family? How do you feel about your family, and how do they adapt to your careers in law enforcement?
My family's okay with it.
Because they get stressed too. I mean, knowing that you're safe, being safe out there. So what do they think?
I've been doing it for 18 years, so they're used to it.
They're on board.
Yeah, they're on board.
Okay, good.
They trust that. The department has provided me the best training, and that I try to make the safest and best decisions while I'm out there working.
Now, what do you do for stress?
I do a lot of hunting and a lot of fishing. Go down to the beach. I have friends outside the department. I have a lot of friends inside the department also. But I have friends outside the department, so everything is just not
balanced.
It's balanced. It's just not about police work.
Right. Good.
So I spend a lot of not a lot, but I go to church.
Good.
So it's a balanced world.
Good. Zach?
When I kind of started, I think my parents were a little worried, understandably.
Sure.
But it's been almost 6 years now total, and they understand the risks, and and having kind of after like 2 or 3 years in, kind of more of a better understanding of what the job really is. Once you get in for a little while, kind of explaining to them kind of the realities of what my normal patrol job really is. That
Right.
A lot of it's not what you see on TV. That's a once a month, maybe once every couple of months type of situation.
Sure.
Most of it's very, very kind of basic, almost kind of boring stuff a lot of the time. They're fine with it now. They kind of understand that there is some risk involved, but I do everything I can to help mitigate that risk, and
Right.
I work with good people who help me help myself,
Right.
with the risk of the job. So
Good.
they're fine with it now.
How do you deal with stress? Do you have any-
I'm a big golfer, so whether
Oh, my
Man,
weather
we could have
permitting,
went all day without hearing about that from D.O.'s kid.
weather permitting, it's kind of a rough time of the year now, but and like the sergeant was saying, friends, not just made some really, really good friends here in the department, but I think it's important to friends who aren't police officers, because and even if my friends who aren't police officers, whether it's through VMI or other people, if they want to talk about my job, we can. It's from a much different perspective
Yes. Oh, yeah.
than my buddy who I've been working with for the last 3-4 years. So
Right. Well, that's good.
Golf.
That's good. Yeah, he said he was golfing.
golf. He said
My
golf.
partner here is
I love it.
golf
I love it.
24/7, I
I
think.
will play every day. I'm retired.
Yeah.
I'm a retired police. So.
Well, we
I love it.
really
I love
want to thank you all for coming in today.
Yes.
Zach, you came in the last minute, and we appreciate you coming off patrol to come in and do this for us.
And what we try to do is show our universities that we recruit at and our citizens that we have a variety of different folks from different areas. You coming from Georgia is awesome, because you still have that same goal in our department, is to seeing the best policing that we can do for our community. And I like that. So
Yes.
thank y'all guys for coming. I appreciate it. Partner, I'm telling you, man, we doing some colleges.
Yes, we are. And I do want to say again, the VMI has been really good to us and
Yes,
very open
yes.
to recruiting, as well as their alumni. Some of the events that we have attended there have been organized with the support of the university by VMI alumni.
Right.
I know one of the guys who organized it was an Eagle Scout from Goodrow from years and years and years ago, Scott Fairburn, and they come from all over, and I just can't say enough about how well they treat us.
Now, BMI also have females in their
They do.
university now.
They do as well.
Okay.
Yes,
So we
absolutely.
Need to try to recruit some females. From there.
Absolutely. So, but we're proud of our VMI officers who work here. We have a number of them, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good
we want
folks.
to keep trying to get more.
Oh yeah, no question. Well, partner, another good one.
Another good one.
Man, I tell you, we time go by fast. It really
does.
does. So, but again, we're gonna sign off now and get ready for our next one.
Yes.
You want to give them the website, brother?
Absolutely. We'd like to remind people that we are hiring police officers, public service aides, as well as emergency communication officers. You can go to joinccpd.org. Yes, joinccpd.org to start your application process. Also, you can find us on social media. And thank you for your time, and we will be back in 2 weeks.
Great job, partner.